Okay, just for fun, I thought I would record a little video of my latest haul of games. Haul in the sense of I had them hauled back from my old place in the UK by courier over to where I'm living now. And you can see I actually had 11 boxes full of books, some toys for my son and so forth. And of course games. I'll just give you a quick look at what we've got. I won't go into this box, which is full of card games and smaller games. Quick look down here at two of the Ace of Aces series of games. These are great one-on-one games where each person has a book. One of you is the Germans, the other is, say, the Allied, and you have a graphic of the view from your plane. And then depending on how each of you manoeuvre, you gain a new graphic of the view from your plane against your opponent. So there's two of those, and there's in the related series you get Starfighter Battle Book, so that's the same kind of thing, but in Star Wars Outer Space. And then even here you've got Shootout at the Saloon, Bounty Hunter, the same thing, but on the ground. So here's the Outlaw, and then the other book's the Bounty Hunter, and there's the Outlaw's view of the saloon, and you can probably just see there, sorry about the shadow, there's the Bounty Hunter coming through the door. So if I found, I won't do it now because it'll take a while, if I found the comparable book, the Bounty Hunter would have a view of the Outlaw sitting at a table or whatnot. Okay, so that's those. Then this just shows kind of like where my interest sometimes lies. Like, this is a customizable disc game, so it's something that never really took off. And I bought this on eBay cheap once, and it's basically it's like collectible games. So this is a faction, and to be able to, this one person would have this. To be able to play it, you would need another person with another faction. So you get bits of cardboard, and essentially you play it on a table. You have your spaceships there, and then you have like control panels that guide your spaceships. So that's, yeah. Then here I've got, there's another similar custom collectible dice game. Now outer space battles are okay from time to time for me. It's not my kind of favourite thing, but I'm more interested in different formats of games. So that was like a customizable stroke collectible disc game, and this is dice game, and again you need another set. I've only got, now this is a starter set, maybe you can use that for two people, but it's you really need a bit more to get going. Then here's another one. This is Stars and Dice, a game of destiny. So interesting. It's essentially, it's like the tarot decks you'll be able to get, but it's done with polyhedral dice. Okay, this was a gift from a friend way back. Great little wreckage. Again, it's a tabletop game. It's kind of like, miniatures, only you've got cards, and you have your controls, a bit like that space game that you saw just now. And then everyone has a car, and you lay it on the table, and you move it a number of car lengths each turn according to that rangefinder and so forth. So it's a very quick and easy and fun game to play. Obviously stemming from the old Car Wars. Then, so the main batch of games I got is this. I was so happy to bring this flat top. If you guys saw my video of what was going on back in my loft in the attic, you'll see that there was a lot of mildew. Well, I've solved that in that I've put all the rest of my games there, well, most of them, in these sealed bags, and put moisture absorbers in the bags to protect them. And then I brought some here. But anyway, so Flat Top, I was so happy to bring that here. I'd love to play this game on Vassal sometime, or you know, face to face. But the point being, it's you can't really play it well solitaire. I've played it, kind of half played it with people a few times, and it's such excellent fun. You know, you have your fleets, your aircraft carriers, you send out your planes, you don't know where your opponent is, and you know, it's that. It's great fun. Okay, 2 here, World War III, old SPI flat packs, and upscope. So this one's falling apart somewhat, but there you go, just in case you've never seen a flat pack before. That's only got one of its covers, sorry. Let's put the phone down again. No, it has got 2. But you can see the dice pieces are falling around everywhere. Oh, better be careful with that. Then a whole bunch of games. City Fight. Oh, this lighting seems terrible. Can I move it any? City Fight. Ambush. I've already got Ambush here. Actually, that's not Ambush. It's actually... This was a spare box I had full of chits and counters for various other games. Merchant of Venus, basically a solitaire game that could be played multiplayer. War and Peace, a game I think I'm going to be playing on Vassal very soon. That's an interesting game. It's a very heavy box. You get a lot in there. You've got lots of pieces, only some of them are punched, and of course you get the, I won't get it all out, but you get mounted boards, and I think there's 3 or 4 of them, 3 great big mounted boards, so there's a lot of game there. But that's a game I'd like to compare to Bonaparte, which I haven't done a video of yet, but that's an international team game of the same kind of scope. And then I think the map's a little bit smaller in the international team game. Sushi Jalopy War. This is a great fun game. Unfortunately, I think it was put in production without being properly developed, so I don't think the designer actually kind of disowned it, but basically the rules have a lot of gaps, and you know, he went online I think at one point saying yes, you know, and I think there are even some clarifications, but I haven't been able to find any proper errata or anything like that. But it's a great fun game because essentially you have like it's a posited future conflict where America's sort of broken into different factions. So you have Texas faction and you know the Midwest faction and so forth. USA, Japan, Texas, South A, what's that? I don't even remember. So you've got Japan coming in, USA, Texas, and SAU. Is that South American United, something like that? These different units. But anyway, the point being that you get like hovercraft, it's plastic pieces. You get hover tanks and nuclear strikes. I don't know if you can see that mushroom cloud there. And it's very sort of quick playing and fun, not too demanding. Yes, so that's that. Then we've got here Eighth Army. That's a tactics adventure game, a classic jigsaw board, very simple, and a sort of 3 sort of steps of rules complexity. Even the most complex is most people find very simple, and it works really well. In depicting the problems of logistics versus at that theatre, it's like operational level game, logistics and combat ability. Then 7th Fleet, that I haven't played yet. Tank Leader, that's a bit of a classic. John Hill's armoured tactics using cards for an activation system. I've only sort of played that once, and I was really looking forward to getting that game, and I didn't really enjoy it. I don't know why, so I'd like to revisit it. Fight the Sky, that's another tactics adventure game in the same field as 8th Army, And I remember I tried playing that once and wasn't very impressed. This is another John Hill game. Very good game. Battle for Stalingrad. So it's a paper map, but a big sort of map, nicely, not too complicated, and it flows really nicely. This game here is I don't know what it is like really. Cowboys, the way of the gun. It's cardboard stand-ups. You've got cards and so forth. So I think it's more of a sort of fun, just a sort of light skirmish game. Nothing too heavy like, but gunslinger like. This one I'm looking forward to trying at some point. Warszawa, 1944. It's by Taktika I Strategia, which is a Polish wargame company. I bought this when I was in Poland some years ago. Haven't taken it out of the shrink wrap yet. I can't remember if I've got the English rules. I think I might have been waiting for English rules, or they might be inside. I can't remember, but anyway, I hadn't got around to playing it. Now here, Across Suez, that's a Mark Herman game design. I was going to say a very simple game. It's a very easy game to play. The Battle of Chinese Farms, so it's tactical. And I played this in a cafe with a non-wargaming friend of mine, and it was great. It's really easy to get into, not too complicated rules, and we had fun because you've got a small map. There's the Chinese farm. You've got one person attacking, one defending. Great little situation, simple game, brilliant. Stargate by SPI. That's again a sort of smallish game. It's actually got a counter trait in it. I remember it was quite a fun game. Can't really remember much else about it. Again, it's sort of space, so it's not totally to my flavour, so I'm not completely enamoured about it. And then these last three, maybe I'll show you a bit more detail on these. This was the first ever war game I bought, 4 battles in North Africa. I saved up, I was a teenager, late teens or something. I saved up all my money, scrimping and saving. Was always kind of like, played like minis, warfare with my brother. Was always interested in the desert campaigns. I bought this game. I think it was on offer from BT's old toy shop in Bristol that closed down 20 odd years ago, and bang, no one played it with me, and I was a bit disappointed with it as well. It just felt too dry. I'm taking all these out. You can see inside it is actually, this is a bit of a look at how things are with me. It's this was when I recently got back, recently I say about 10-15 years ago, got back into wargaming after never really getting to it when, for example, I bought this game and no one played it with me. And I didn't have much money to spend, so this was Wooden Ships and Iron Men that I built up from web downloads. So, and I had to give it somewhere to live. But here, so you've got the rules that were just, I looked at this and it just didn't stimulate me. The way the pictures and the names of the battles were very evocative to me. So as I was into role-playing games and other kind of adventure games at that time, what happened, and some of you are going to cringe at this, is I doctored all the maps. So you can see great big felt tip amendments to the castle. I put a wood. There was no wood, at least not that size, around the vicinity of Castle Room. There was no rivers down there, no lakes. So I was using this for other games, like games of Ogre or GV, so forth. I won't show you them all. And you can see these are the counters, and then on the back I put basically cutouts from like Steve Jackson games, magazine games that were unmounted counters. I stuck them on the back. So I completely doctored that game. And this box even holds instructions for other games. look at that. This was my ogre doctoring of the mat. And unfortunately it means there's no real turning back. You can see what I've done to these mats. There's no really real turning back now, because you can't exactly play Crusader with Moonscape interpolated on half of the map. Fortunately, one of the maps I have not doctored, so that one of those quads I could play these days. And you can see I stuck a book in there, Modern Board Games, so that when I packed it in all these boxes, no space was wasted. That's interesting. Commentary, an old book commenting on modern board games. Then, for example, this is an example of how things go. Sauron, SPI. It's one of 2 games from the Games of Middle-earth. I bought it for 60p. That's, for the Americans amongst you, that's less than $1. It's 60p, not even £1, in an Oxfam, a charity shop. I think it was like, but truth be told, it was like that. But it was like that because it was incomplete. And in there, I stuck Orb Quest, Unicorn Gold. These are counters for the fantasy trip, Grail Quest. Oh look, there's a German phrase book dictionary. And here it says poisonous chemicals used on farms and gardens. But inside we have a fantasy trip Melian, an old ring binder. Remember these? Wizard spell table, the wizard bit, and then some of my old characters. And here was an attempt at utilising parts of the GURPS, generic universal role-playing game, into the fantasy strip settings. So here's some conversions characters. Here's a description of one of my, I read this the other day over breakfast, of one of my games back from then. I don't even remember the game, but I obviously had fun writing out what happened. So that's all to do with the fantasy trip. Then we get that to the actual standard rules, and then there's the specific rules later in this booklet. And this is interesting because look, it's where's the box lid gone? Here. So it's a big box. All you get is these few pages of rules. Like I said, that contains the specific rules as well. You get the map sheet, which is not vast. Okay, pretty bland. You got the gates of Mordor down there. You get a counter trade, a die, and 100 counters. That was all. So it's obviously, you know, they're trying to cash in, make it look snazzy. So a lot of people, I think, would be disappointed on. Imagine a little kid buying this great big box and they get. It seems very empty inside. I don't know how the game plays. I've never played it yet. Because again, fantasy's not what draws me so much now. And lastly, I'll show you this Fireteam. So I'd like to try this, compare it to things like, what have I got? Oh no, I couldn't find it. Yes, I can't find some other games. Anyway, some other modern combat games. So this is by John Southard. We've got James Dunnigan, similar kind of thing, modern squad level command. So this was obviously modern, so West End games design. This is obviously modern back in 1987. Still comparing game complexity to Imperium Romanum 2. And again, I've packed something. So random books, not making any comment on my interests really, just a broad interest in reading. The Science Group, the Anthroposophical Society in Great Britain. So then inside there's these, which are fan-made missions for ambush. Some extra ambush charts and things. Another fan-made mission. And then we come to the actual West End Games stuff. Fireteam. Yes, lots of cardboard. Chips. And there must be a map down there somewhere. So just a quick glance at what I brought back. Not mentioning, like I said, all the card games. Some more sort of social family games. That's interesting. That's a business. That's basically a rip-off of Monopoly, which I bought in India when I was in India. So it uses rupees and, you know, Indian cities. It's fun. And this I can't wait to try. This is, I said I brought it for my son, but really I brought it for me, because essentially what it does is you use your smartphone and it somehow creates a kind of like a hologram, you know, like in Star Wars when at the beginning when Mark Hamill and Luke Skywalker finds R2-D2 and then there's blip, 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 the hologram of Princess Leia. You're supposed to be able to do that with your phone. So there you go, quick look. Enjoy.